Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Conservatives of Reddit, how would you feel if Trump pardons Ghislaine Maxwell? Removed. Remember, leave the kids alone, these last 4 years. It's always projection. They only care about leaving kids be when it comes to indoctrination, telling them people other than straight white Christians exist. Conservative here, if you are convicted of sex crimes involving children, you should never see the light of day again. I don't care how many people she helps convict. Fuck her, and if Trump pardons her, fuck him too. All this info was public way before the election, how much did you care about it then? Don't discourage conservatives from working on themselves. Shaming them for past actions will do nothing but further entrench them into their cult, of which currently accepts them for who they are. Edit. To most of the comments under this, I'm not telling you to take the high road with people espousing horrible views. Don't. I'm saying, if they're working on themselves, don't shame them back into their hole. Conservative here. Didn't vote for Trump because he is everything we try to raise our children not to be. If he pardoned GM, it would be another unsurprising, despicable act. This is what I don't understand about the current state of things. He embodies all the traits that Christians are supposed to oppose, yet somehow all the Christians support him because he ran on a red ticket. Even though he is an absolutely abhorrent person, lies constantly, gets caught in all those lies constantly, but he uses words like bigly, so he must represent the common man. I don't understand. I honestly don't. He embodies all the traits that Christians are supposed to oppose. Yet somehow all the Christians support him because I heard on a radio interview that Christians believe in forgiveness, so they forgive Trump and all his wrongdoings. But as for Hillary, they said she was beyond forgiveness. Just goes to show you that the political double standard is beyond Christianity. This is probably the thing that annoys me most about Trump. He's everything conservatives say they don't support. I grew up in a very conservative household and went to a Christian private school for 6 years. There is nothing he is doing that remotely embodies either of those two belief systems, and yet he gets insane support from conservatives and especially Christians. He literally embodies government censorship, government overreach, and the erosion of law and order. As far as Christianity is concerned, he embodies selfishness, infidelity, greed, vanity, dishonesty, and above all, hatred. He's the Antichrist as far as I'm concerned, but American Christians are constantly showing that they don't read the Bible and instead are actively fighting against everything it teaches. I know a lot of Republicans and conservatives who heart-hate Trump and his whole regime. But I also know a good portion of them who've had just enough of the Kool-Aid that while their hatred of Trump and MAGA isn't as strong as their fear and hatred of Democrats as a whole. I'm talking Christians who think Trump is the antithesis of Christ's teachings but who think Democrats want to end Christianity altogether. They know Trump is corrupt, takes bribes, and uses the office to make himself richer, but think all Democrats are up to much worse. They think Trump's policies are great for billionaires and bad for the rest of us, but think if Democrats were in control they'd turn us into an East Berlin welfare state. So while they despise the state of the party, they vote for them anyway because, you know what evil things the Democrats will do if they get control. You know what they'll do. And that's the final straw that makes me realize they have no idea what's actually going on in American politics, because if they did then they'd know exactly what Democrats would do if they were in control. Nothing, because that's what they always do. Nothing. Their whole business model is saying, someone should do something. And then they proceed to do nothing. So why the fuck are all these people who cosplay tough patriotic badasses so scared of them? Conservative friend of mine said she doesn't get into all this, she said, stuff. They're all bad anyway and there's nothing we can do about it. Such disassociating. What about ISMS? It's unbelievable. They're all bad and yet one side has her full unwavering support in every election. Honestly, this person should just not vote. If you don't give enough of a shit that your president is likely a pedophile, then I don't give a shit that your tour or tax views are. Ghislaine didn't kill herself. Yet. She's talking behind closed doors with Trump's former lawyer. He's talking about giving her a pardon. How much you wanna bet the deal is she doesn't give up his name? Notice how no actual conservatives ever reply to these things. Conservative here. I would hate it if he pardons her. Edit. Spelling is hard. Spelling really is hard. I genuinely don't know if I'd ever spell banana correctly without Gwen Stefani. Conservative leaning independent here. I'd be absolutely embarrassingly disgusted. Just like I am with everything else this fucking idiot is doing. Edit. I can't respond to all of you. Just to make it clear, I didn't vote for the man ever. I can't stand the MAGA movement and I'm not a part of this lunacy. It has been nice to have polite political discussion for once and not to be completely berated for a difference of opinion, so I appreciate all of you for that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Also, thank you for the award for this comment. I really appreciate your kindness, it made my day. No aggression here. I'm genuinely curious. What part of the Conservative Party now aligns with your views? I believe the government should spend less, stay out of the private sector as much as possible, and let people keep more of what they earn. As far as how that aligns with the current state of conservatism, I guess that's why I identify as an independent. I describe myself as fiscally conservative but socially liberal. Edit, thank you for the award, kind Redditor, it really means a lot to me. Made my day. As an actual conservative, it looks like I might be the first to answer. I think it would be his downfall. Teflon Don has been able to shake everything off because nobody other than MAGA really thinks he is a good person, and like it or not, the majority of people who voted for Trump are not part of MAGA. I did not vote for Trump because I thought he was a good person, I voted for him because I wanted his policies. Now I know that is going to trigger a bunch of side comments about his policies that you do not like, but I'm not here for that. I am here to give you an honest opinion about Trump and Rape Island. The reason I think it will be his downfall is that a good portion of MAGA seems to have clung on to Rape Island because they truly think only Democrat elites are part of raping children there. They thought Trump would expose that without ever considering that Republican elites were also raping children there. I think pardoning her will fracture a lot of MAGA itself because there wouldn't be any reason to do that unless she was covering something up for you. For the rest of us that are conservatives and aren't part of MAGA, to be honest, most of us don't care what happens to Trump. If he is part of Rape Island, then line him up against the wall and shoot him with the rest of the conservatives and Democrats that were part of it for all we care. I look forward to all of the triggered comments saying I voted for his policies. Upvoting you for your honest participation. I may disagree with this dude on a lot IRL and roll my eyes at anyone voting for Trump, but I respect his honest, respectful, and transparent response. We need more open dialogue like this from both ends of the spectrum, especially now when we are all hate one another for what ends up being mostly trivial shit. Not trying to dogpile, but what makes this particular case different for conservatives? From my perspective, Trump has always been a sex pest, bragging about grabbing women by the pussy, perving on his own daughter, saying he'd date a 12-year-old, going into women's locker rooms, and of course his sexual assault cases. Is this a straw that broke the camel's back situation? Why can't it be explained away by lawfare, conspiracies, or fake news like all the other issues? Isn't it just another on the pile? Thank you for being a conservative who will actually answer these questions. I'm not a conservative, but I hate how these questions become liberal echo chambers. I'm conservative and hang out in conservative corners of the internet as well as Reddit. And I think you'd be surprised how much really far right-leaning people can't stand Trump's positions with Israel and the Epstein list. There is no doubt this would piss them all off. Thank you for your reply. That's heartening to hear, but do you think any of these issues would make them vote for anyone without an R beside the names? Does really far right, Israel, and Epstein, not tip you off of who they're talking about? They're very much asterisk talking about Nazis. Fuck no, they're never going to vote outside of R, unless it's a David Duke level dude running as an independent. Edit, added, much. When I was younger I was full on conservative everything. Above, gotten older and basically smack dab in the middle with an ever so slight lean towards being conservative. Did not vote for Trump. If he pardons her, it's just the cherry on top. This shit is a badly written Saturday Night Live sketch that became real life at this point. We are going to have a red carpet rolled out and have aliens from space introduced to the world before we ever see the Epstein list. Smack dab in the middle with an ever so slight lean towards being conservative. So you'd align well with current Democrat leadership. God, the two-party system fucking sucks. They'll move the goalposts again. This is the same group that had folks starting to wear diapers on the outside of their clothes, in support, when it came out he shits his pants on the regular. They are not a sound group. And wore an ear patch when Trump got his ear injured by his Secret Service agents when they tackled him. Ah yes, the real men wear diapers moment. Unforgettable. _ It would mean Maxwell is good and they liked her along. We have always been at war with East Asia. I just wish her well. I lean right. My already low respect for Trump has tanked the past 2 months. This will just prove he was on that island. Release the files, child fucker. My breaking point to just never be supporting Trump was back in 2015 when he ridiculed that disabled reporter. What was your thoughts on him when he did that? You won't get an answer. Just out of interest, how did your level of respect change, if at all, before and after that White House bullying meeting with Zelensky back in February? I had just about come to terms with Americans re-electing him. But the thought that this specific moment, regardless of whether you think America should withdraw from the world stage or not, would not bother his voting base just broke any last respect I had for the American electorate. I am still hoping to be proved wrong. The cons will say that they don't like it but then vote for his illegal third term. This is not being pointed out enough. Non-American conservative here. Trump is a fascist, not a conservative. This is from the Putin playbook, perverting justice to the personal benefit of the leader and his cult of personality. This isn't the conservatism of Reagan or Harper or Thatcher. Yes. Much as I usually disagree with conservatives, I must agree with you. Nothing about Trump is conservative. He's something else. If you want a real answer, he's already lost me. I wasn't as crazy about voting for him this election like the past two. But I think the Epstein files goes above parties and politics. It should be a bipartisan issue, and the fact that it hasn't been released tells me that there are many people on both sides that are on this list. Him pardoning Maxwell wouldn't really move the needle for me, as I already believe he's on the list with a bunch of others. And presidents always seem pardon people for personal gain. I love how people always turn Trump perpetrating one of the most obvious and stupid cover-ups in our country's history to both sides are bad. We need a bipartisan group we trust to do this. Need to trust on both sides, nothing else right now is going to be believable. That used to be the job of journalists in the US.